Gotta get it how it goes now. You gotta take it off the nose. It's off the nose. Gotta get back in control now. Let's stop believing in ourselves. It's off the nose.
Hey guys, today's show is brought to you by Storyworth. Unique gift like nothing else. 20 bucks off when you use the URL /offthenose. Check it out. DAD Day, right around the corner. This gift, he might just forgive you for all your bullshit. Plexiderm. Plexiderm is a serum that will make you tight for up to 10 hours. I promise. 67% off. Guys, yeah, you too. Check it out. MealEnders. Are you doing a little too much snacking these days? Stop the cravings, stop overeating, pop a lozenge, 20% off when you use /offthenose. How about Warby Parker? Do you need to change it up a little bit? I'm telling you, you do. Warby Parker, awesome vintage-inspired prescription glasses, 5 pairs, 5 days free trial when you go to /offthenose. Okay, so I'm thinking, should we flatten the giving curve? Yeah, okay, so don't freak out on me. Just thinking, all this giving going on is phenomenal, but why just at a disaster? Or is it just at a disaster? I don't know. I mean, from celebs to you and me, everyday people, there's giving all around us. And it just sort of makes me smirk a little bit. It's kind of how I feel about Valentine's Day. It's like people wait for Valentine's Day to give flowers and express your love, right? Or Mother's Day like we just had. We wait till Mother's Day to ask our moms, what do you want to do today? And then we accommodate them for one whole day. Phenomenal. So it just got me thinking, right? Do we give like this throughout the year? I mean, I know generally speaking we do, but I wanted to know the numbers. So roll with me here. Turns out Americans give more than $1 billion a day to charity. That's right. That's $427 billion that was given last year towards charity. Amazing, right? The breakdown might surprise you as well. 3% comes from billionaires, 5% from corporations, 20% from foundations, and the rest, 70+%, is coming from you and me. Relatively small donations. So kind of blew me away. Want to give a shout out to millennials. 84% of millennials apparently gave, 90% of upper middle class, and the top 50 wealthiest people in America gave a combined $14 billion towards charity. So pretty amazing. So how does that compare, right? That's what we're talking about. How does it compare to Corona? Well, apparently just in the past 6 weeks, $10 billion has been given towards the Corona pandemic. Pretty amazing. If you compare it to other disasters, the next closest disaster was Hurricane Katrina, and we gave $587 million. So, I mean, the terrorist attacks was under 300 million. Tsunami was under 200 million. So Corona obviously is a pandemic and the most serious of our time. So it makes sense, but pretty amazing. And you gotta look at who's giving, because I find it interesting, right? Some give for their brands and for reasons that we're all pretty savvy about, but regardless, the giving is there. Twitter's Jack Dorsey tops the list. He gave $1 billion. Google came in a close second, just under $1 billion. You've got Bill and Melinda Gates, who gave $300 million, and a whole roster of people, probably a dozen, who gave $100 million or more, like a bunch of banks and the Dells and Netflix. Even Bezos made the list. He doesn't normally make the giver list, but he did. Facebook made the list, so pretty incredible. And then what all the celebrities are doing, I know they're home board, but they still could say no if they wanted to. And, from Jimmy Fallon asking every single guest what their charity is, that's led to a lot of giving. Tina Fey led a telethon, $115 million. Lady Gaga great virtual concert she put together, $127 million. And Bethany Frankel's Be Strong, $17 million. Jay-Z, my boy, my fave, Jay-Z, giving masks to prisons and so forth. So everybody's doing their part, and it's incredible. But it just made me wonder, like, what would the world be if giving was something we did on a regular basis? And I'm talking money and time. And from what I've learned, really we need both. You can't kind of put yourself in one bucket or the other. So let's talk about the money first. What if we just all agreed to give 2%? I did some little quick math. And so if you're making 50 grand, that's $10 a week, right? That's one less pizza. Can you roll with that? Okay. If you're making 100 grand, that's $38 a week. So maybe one less great bottle of wine. Still drink, just can't drink the great bottle. A millionaire, it's $380 a week. What is that, a Prada bag? I mean, we can do this, people. And a billionaire, maybe it's one less week on a yacht because it's 38 grand. I don't know what else is 38 grand. A car, one less car for a grandkid, whatever. But that adds up, right? 2%, that would be amazing. And then what about time? I mean, what if it was just ingrained in us? What if we had a 1 a week, right? Everybody had to do an hour a week. I mean, head down to the park, teach a kid how to play ball, read online like you see a lot of great people doing, do some pro bono work. How about hiring on character and then teaching people the skill sets rather than making them have this certain education or a certain background or whatever? That's giving as well. And, I just wonder, like, what would it look like? 350 million adults in America giving 2% and or an hour a week of their time. I mean, shit, I want to live there. I gotta think we have less mouths to feed. If any, we gotta take people off the streets. We gotta give people technology. I mean, it's just gotta be a better place. And if you've not given, when you give, you get more than you can imagine. So I don't know. I gotta think that's a world we all would love, and a world that would love us back.
Gotta get it how it goes now. You gotta take it off the nose. It's off the nose. Gotta get back in control.
Excited to have you guys on, Tyler and Jason from Truffle Shuffle. We have professional chefs here, also truffle experts. And so the listeners think we're going to talk about chocolate, but no, we are not talking about chocolates. We're talking about truffles, right?
Right.
Hey.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, we can talk about chocolate, but we're going to talk about the other truffle first. So let's just break right into it. Jason, what the hell is a truffle?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And, one that we get less and less. I think consumers are becoming more educated with truffles. And so the way that we best explain it is that truffles are a wild, rare mushroom. And they're a wild, rare mushroom that has to be found by dogs. And so dogs actually sniff them out. They grow underground. And then the reason why they become so expensive is because they can't just be cultivated. You can't just plant a truffle seed and grow truffles. They have to grow in a symbiotic relationship similar to wine with their terroir and environment. And then in addition to that, the process to find truffles is excruciatingly difficult. You have to train dogs for many years, go out every day. And then after that, once you get the truffle out of the ground, you only have about 5 days that you can really utilize that truffle to its full potential.
So this truffle hunt, take us on a truffle hunt. First of all, what kind of dog finds truffles? Can I train my dog?
There's one almost like grandfather that trains the truffle hunting dogs, and then there is no specific breed. You got to imagine they've been doing this for 200-300 years, and you'll get 1 or 2 dogs that are really good at finding truffles, and they'll breed those 2 together. That will produce another mutt. They'll breed those 2 mutts together. And so technically you can train any dog to find truffles. Italy, and where they're hunting all these truffles, it's literally just a combination of mutts.
Okay, so can you can you pull a truffle too early?
You can absolutely pull a truffle too early, which is why they use dogs, because what the dogs are looking for is the aroma, and if it's releasing its aroma, then it's ripe.
Okay. So when you get truffles, I don't know why I'm thinking about drugs, but you get truffles, you test the product, you can tell that it was caught or pulled at the exact same time. I mean, at the exact right time. And you would pay for the truffle based on that? Or is a truffle a truffle?
So the way that we work is we work directly with hunters, and we have very good relationships with our hunters. And so we actually pay them up front. So we will send over, $50,000, $75,000 at the beginning of the month. And then as they send us truffles, then that deducts from that. And what that does is allows them to, one, be able to support themselves and support their families. And then two, not be scraping money day by day. And so when we get truffles in, there's just a couple like telltale signs that you look for. And honestly, it's very simple. It really comes down to the density of the truffle.
Mm.
You essentially want truffles, whether they're white or black, to come in rock hard. And
rock hard, okay.
If they have any give to them, that means insects have been eating them. And if the insects have been eating them, it means it's a little too warm. And so you want them from very cold areas where the insects and worms aren't even moving in the dirt anymore.
So is there a black market for truffles where they're not getting them from the right place, or they're trying to engineer truffles? Does that exist, or did I just make that up?
No, and it's a great question, and it's one that honestly we didn't understand before we started Truffle Shuffle.
Mm.
And it's you hear like this black market, and you're like, well, what does that mean? And truly, what it is that in China they produce a truffle called tuber indicum. And tuber indicum looks exactly like the French and Spanish and Australian black paragould truffle. And so
wow.
What we have learned is happening is that it doesn't happen on the hunter side. You got to imagine these are small families. They've been doing this for years. They don't really have anything to gain by almost biting the hand that feeds,
Sure. Yes. That's why, you want people to ask the right questions. That's what I want the audience to learn about. Like, get excited when you see a truffle on a menu, but how do you ask the right questions to make sure, I guess, where do they source it? Just like I'm super picky about my fish. So I ask, where did you get the salmon?
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's honestly a big reason why we started Truffle Shuffle, because, nowadays on every menu in America, everyone knows where every radish is from, where
right.
Every single chicken is from, but no chef really knows where their truffles are coming from. And, for instance, if you look at the amount of truffles that are from Alba, Italy in America, and then you look at the number of truffles that are actually found in Alba, Italy, those numbers just don't line up at all.
Don't line up. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so, okay, so you think that it is acquired taste, I guess, to some degree. Well, it's more an exposure, I guess.
It has to be done right.
Has to be done right. It can be done wrong.
It can be done very wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine just eating a spoonful of like caviar, with nothing else. Like, that would be bad.
Thanks. No amount of alcohol at any time of the night could put me there. Okay, yeah. So we've learned how to eat a truffle and how not to eat a truffle. So you brought up French Laundry, and for anyone who doesn't know, this is several star Michelin restaurant, isn't it? Out
3
in
stars,
Napa.
yeah.
3 stars. And so Tyler, you and Jason met there, and I believe this is where Truffle Shuffle was created. So Tyler, tell me how you guys came up with the concept, and who came up with the name, by the way.
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty good story. So Jason and I met while working at the French Laundry. We both worked there for, quite a long time. And then when we left, it's sort of like, you either leave and you go start your own restaurant, or, you can take a private chef position or this or that. So, you know, we both had taken some private chef positions. I went out to Maine, you know, to look into starting my own restaurant. But then, you know, when I was over there, it wasn't exactly where I wanted to go. And so, you know, I was kind of in between jobs, and I called up Jason, and this kid had the crazy idea of starting a truffle company, which was like, okay, we're going to send people to Europe, create relationships, send truffles back to America, sell them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Okay.
you know, I didn't have anything going on at the time. So I was like, okay, great. So moved back to the Bay Area.
That was the
Jason
pitch.
What's that?
That was the pitch. That was it. So at this point, when you hear this pitch, had you been to Europe?
Yeah, I'd been to Europe. Yeah, I
Okay.
cooked in France for a bit.
So okay. So you've cooked over there, you've been to Europe, you can kind of get with this, and you like truffles at this point, right? Done right.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Okay. And so then, and how do you get to now? Who comes up with the name?
The first thing we did is we sent a kid to Europe with 9,999 euros strapped to his chest.
That's right. That's how you do it. Yep.
To give you an example of, like, you know, I call my dad and I'm like, because I'm like, how do you like get on a plane with that much cash? And I was like, hey Dad, how much cash have you flown with? And he was like, $40,000. And I was like, well, how did you do that? And he's
does Dad do trips to Colombia, or what's happening here?
that he used to get on the plane.
Now you're wondering.
Yeah. But, you know, my dad's response is shorts with the big pockets in the front.
I love Dad.
You know?
Okay. Yeah.
And so to get something like this started, it was kind of like, you know, the path was laid out, but it wasn't like a crazy thing for me to be like, all right, let's start a business. And then the name honestly came from the movie The Goonies.
I don't know this movie. I mean, I know of the movie, but now I have to watch The Goonies tonight. All right.
So there's a pivotal moment, and I have an example here. Do you want me to show you the example?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a pivotal moment in the movie where this kid wants to get inside the house, but they say, no, you have to do the truffle shuffle first. And then he does the truffle shuffle. And it's a very kind of funny dance, right?
Okay.
And so The Goonies, it's a Steven Spielberg movie.
Yeah.
The guy, Jeff Cohen, that does the truffle shuffle actually sent us that picture signed.
That is great.
We got to get it in a better frame, but...
That was it.
And the whole movie is about these kids are trying to get the treasure to save the town. And we just really kind of aligned with that, you know. We're a bunch of misfit chefs trying to make enough money, right, that we can start our own restaurant and do our own thing.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so you two become Zoom/TV personalities now, and you got the kits going and the cooking classes going. How insane was that? And tell me, there had to have been some snafus. You're working equipment, you're figuring that out. I mean, like everybody else, by the way, I'm not singling you out because, you know, seasoned journalists are totally screwing up through this thing. So how were the beginning days of the cooking show?
Well, what's crazy about it being live is that with it being a live cooking class, and there's audio, visual, technical aspects of it, is that like that very first one, we set it all up, and then, you know, at one point, Ian just drops the phone, and I'm like, well, we're not having technical difficulties here. Ian literally just dropped the phone on.
We're having people difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah, but then the very first one, if you look at it, we had a phone here, and then a phone here, and then we had a camera here, and then we had a computer here, because we were trying to go live on Facebook, and then we also wanted to go on IG, and the Facebook Live crashed, and then one of the phones died, and then we had the other one, and somehow we made it through the whole thing. But when you look at it, we're like looking all over the place.
Right.
We created a background, and the background wasn't large enough that you could just see like what was behind the background.
Okay, that's good.
And we're doing this out of our what we call our headquarters, our live work in West Oakland, right?
Sure.
And the kitchen is not the nicest, you know. And so I was like, okay, well, we have this white background that we take to trade shows. And so we put that behind us. And then I was like, and we need lights, a lot of lights. And so we had every light
Every
possible.
lamp is pulled into the kitchen. Night lights, we got all.
It looks so bad.
Camera lights too. Yeah.
And then the way we opened it, we had our friend Dave, who's a chef up at Charter Oak. He came out holding a small dog, and we had a little speaker thing for him to announce us in. And so we put one paper fake background in front of a like a cloth fake background, and then me and Tyler are behind the paper one, and he stabs a knife into it and goes down, and then we bust out to the WWE theme song.
So at least everyone would be laughing.
And so one thing that we'll be launching later this year that we're very excited about is really organizing our D2C program for fresh truffles. And so we put together this box, and our goal was that, you know, everyone, now that people, especially our followers and fans, are cooking with truffles all the time, once they get them, they become very worried. How do we store them? What do we do?
Yes.
You know? And so we put together this really awesome box that literally has the shaver and the truffle inside of it. On the left, it has care instructions. And then the goal is you basically have enough room in this box. So on there, it says your truffle experience awaits. And then this is actually one of the hunters that we work with in Italy, Alessandro.
Oh, I love this box. Yeah.
That's his dog, Luca. And so they'll be able to get this, and they're truffle shavers, so we get handmade truffle shavers from Italy. And then within the box, the truffles will go in what we call a doggy bag.
Okay.
And then the instructions basically say, then put eggs or butter with your truffles. And then they keep this whole box directly in the fridge as they're, you know, getting ready to make the risotto or whatever. And then when they have a little bit left over, then they can make themselves those perfectly poached truffle eggs in the morning, or eggs and toast. So we're really excited about this. And
so first of all, it's beautiful. So whoever wants to take credit for that box, awesome job. And then the truffles last how long in that box?
So once consumers get them, they'll last about 5 to 6 days.
5 to 6 days. Okay. Which is
fridge.
Good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. And I know, like, even when I got my salt and stuff, you know, you guys have great little recipe cards and things like this. So they can get all kinds of recipes on the website, and I'm sure in that box and things like that too. And you're going to continue to do the cooking shows?
We're going to 100% continue to do the cooking shows, and our goal is to expand it into its own little entity.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And our chefs, would you do shows for chefs? Would you do training for chefs, or is that not kosher, if you will? I mean, a chef would never admit that they need training. Is there an arrogance around that?
You know, and Tyler can talk to it more, but what we want to look at is like, okay, we've hit the ground running, you know, we launched this business plan with, you know, no real idea where it was going to go. And now we have, you know, 50 people joining us a week.
Well, you guys are making people smile through this thing. And so that's gotta feel good. I want to know, how often do you eat truffles personally? Tell the truth.
Well, since we've been doing these cooking classes, you know, every day we do a cooking class. Well, you know, whether we make mac and cheese or risotto or
you're eating it.
Truffle gnocchi. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we finish and then, you know, eat that dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is it fair to say that when you choose to go eat, you might just like eat a bowl of cereal or make a PB&J and you're a little truffled out, or do you never get truffled out?
I haven't got truffled out.
Yeah, honestly, I don't either. Yeah.
That's a t-shirt. There's a t-shirt there. I like, okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I never get truffled out.
I never get truffled out. Yeah, I think there's something there.
We want to build, Truffle Shuffle into kind of this entity. And I don't know if empire is the right word, but we got a guy, Ian, right? Ian has this dream of having a butcher shop in Delhi one day. And we want Truffle Shuffle to be the best thing he ever did in his life to get to that next step.
I love that. Through Truffles. I mean, seriously, giving back and empowering people and bringing people together to bond with their kids. And really, it's funny, right? We can set all the plans we want, and then life kind of takes us down the road as it does. And so you can grab onto the opportunity, and it sounds like you guys are. So I really enjoyed talking to you guys. I think the audience is like, holy shit, now I know what a truffle is, and I'm sort of interested in this. So I appreciate it. And, I wish you guys health and safety through all of this and the grit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you guys have worked hard to get to this stage, and I wish you nothing but continued success. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you so much,
Amazing.
Kelly.
Thank you,
Okay.
Kelly.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Happy eating. Happy cooking.
All right.
Okay.
You'll join us on the next cooking class, right?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm there. Okay. Don't
Awesome.
single me out.
We will.
We'll spotlight you.
Yeah.
Spotlight your video.
Getting ready to start the Zoom truffle mac and cheese class with Truffle Shuffle. Super excited. Here's all the stuff that came in the box. Flour and panko, milk, butter, truffles, cream, cheese. It's all here. Everything I'll need. Hey, here we go.
Better change up your perspective. It's something new.